So now we're moving on to returning to the office and how that's been going. So in SF, there is now an epidemic of where the jobs and stuff, or like the big companies are leaving the city because like they just don't want to deal with paying for office space that they could be paying for somewhere else, you know? Like, so a lot of them are leaving the SF and then like no new people are going in to fill these vacant like buildings.
But I wonder why. I wonder, is it because it's too expensive? Like, what is happening?
I think it's like a multitude of reasons. People can do this job anywhere. Like the talent pool is now being spread thin. So like before, like SF and other metropolitan areas had a very high concentration of talent. So then the Bay Area itself is built on the fact that you could effectively like snipe someone else. Like if you are a small company and you wanted to get like top talent, you could go and then like try to get someone from another company that has more experience, bring them in, and now you're like progressing your business by a lot. So by having this large talent pool that's is like a metropolitan area, that's like the draw. But now that like a lot of people have left the offices and are able to go do their job somewhere else, like why would you pay the extra money to have specifically there when a lot of people have moved to like other metropolitans that are cheaper or about the same, and then you can just start over there? Because like there's been like a lot of like this is article after article. It's like, oh, DC, Arlington area is the new Silicon Valley.
Oh yeah, I've seen
Seattle
those.
is the new Silicon Valley.
Texas is the new
Austin,
Silicon Valley.
Texas is the new Silicon Valley. Everywhere is its new. It's like it's the whole Incredibles things. Like when everybody's super,
Oh my god,
then nobody is.
You know, but you started this off with the return to work, right? I do want to say that a lot of companies, like there are a lot of companies that want their employees back into the office, because I think that it, like how what I've seen and what I've read is that it helps build culture. It helps build a sense of, I would have to say that I also I don't want to go off the deep end, but I think that, you know, it is for some companies it would work better for more like critical roles, like where people need to be in small groups and interact and be very, because like I think that sometimes when you're remote you don't meet as much on like things that need to be addressed right away, or like I could even say that, you know, there might be times, not all the time, but then you might get employees that like, you know, they get hired, they do remote, and they're probably like, they say I could do my job in like I could do my job in like a fourth of the time, and then they just don't do anything the rest of the day, which could be which I would say that, you know, you could find things to do during that time. So that's
true.
That's what
like building relationships. A lot of the like business side is about building relationships and finding these connections with the other people, like different departments, etc. It might be like a pain, but a lot of like the core aspect of being someone in business is like the connections. It's about the people. So like you may not like the fact that you have to talk to your boss, but like that is a necessary business function to talk to him or her.
I think it's also important to stress, and this is what I think that you know, sometimes it's good. Like I actually like going into the office and I like working. I know
that's a hot take.
Yeah, I know other people, they're like, oh, I want to work remote, I can do my job more efficiently. I've seen comments too on other videos where it's like, I don't need to take a shower, I don't need to
disgusting.
and yeah, that's exactly what the comments below it said.
I don't need a bathe. For how long?
Yeah, and then there he's like, I don't need to look presentable, I don't need to do this, but I think
you need to be like a human and like
yeah, they're gremlins.
I roll around in filth.
No, I do want to say that it is important, because especially now with the layoffs that are happening or just industry wide now, I would have to say at this point, it is more important than ever to foster and have those connections, because companies now they could be they're able to choose who they want to hire. They have more options out there. The talent pool is huge.
Yes,
And
especially because of like the layoffs. Because like now there's a lot of like very driven people to get their jobs back. Because like with the layoffs, it was just like a broad sword. It's like it didn't matter if
But
you're the best or the worst. You just
but
chopped off.
you think about it, right? Let's say I watched this video and the talent pool used to be that these companies were getting free and cheap money, by the way, back to interest rate, back to my thing. Watching the other part or listen
Silicon
to listen to the other parts of this. I of this podcast.
Silicon Valley Bank.
Yes, yeah, no, yeah. Okay, so I want to say that before companies used to be able to hire people because they were able to borrow money cheaply, correct? Right?
Or well, also the projections were different then.
Yeah, they thought there was a boom during the pandemic, where companies were seeing high amounts of growth.
Mm-hmm. And they projected it like linearly, like, oh, this is gonna continue, but like that doesn't actually happen.
The hot hand fallacy.
It looks good, but I mean, if you tell your shareholders like, look at this, but then like it's not real.
So, but to get back to it, companies before were able to hire like maybe newly graduated people because they're like, I could take more of a risk because I have the money.
You can like have them grow.
Yes, but now that has shrunk because companies aren't able to do that. They're not able to freely get as cheap money. They're not able to borrow money cheaply, and now they're only looking for experience, and they're looking for people who are referred in by connections. So
that is true.
So it is harder now for people that don't have as much experience or don't have it made or fostered those connections to find a job because like let's say I think it was this example that I saw in the comments, and they're like, you have two people. You have one with experience and you have another one with the same experience but who also is applying to get hired on a team with someone he's worked with before.
Yes.
They're more likely to hire the guy that has a referral because they know their work ethic.
Well, they also have like a person they could fall back on. Like the other person would feel bad or like would be pressured to not recommend anyone bad because it would look bad on them.
Yeah. And the thing is too, who we took completely out of the equation? People with no experience or very little experience. Don't point at yourself. But it's becoming a very difficult job market. The return to work, I think, has its own benefits of creating and fostering those relationships.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there is some benefit to it. I think the people who are only viewing it as a negative are only seeing one side of the glass, or the glass half full or something.
The issue,
some metaphor.
The issue is, I think, one thing I wanted to bring up is that I think it depends on the position you are in life. Like if you are like a person with a family, have other things that you would like to get done, like, and it would be beneficial for you to be at home more. Like, childcare is expensive, like really expensive.
That is true. Yeah.
So if you had the ability to work at home, still get the same amount of work done, like the stuff you need to get done, accomplished, but also able to save on childcare, like that's a huge win. Like if you were telling them to come back into office, that's like a lot of different things they would have to add into the equation. Like, you have to factor in the commute, so they're commuting in. If they have to park on the street or like pay for like parking their car, they have to pay for childcare. And then like they have to drive back. Like
it's expensive.
It is very expensive. Like even if they take like the train, it's still like time out of their day that they could be at home doing the same thing. Because like how infuriating would it be? Like you go into the work, but then like a lot of times it's going to be kind of just like busy work time. Like you could do this, like the whole meme of like, oh, this whole thing could be handled in an email. Like
that's true,
you don't need to have this meeting. You just send an email out and then it's the same thing.
I think that's personally, I think the hybrid role is the best. I don't fully agree with having
a fully remote.
not yeah.
Hot take.
Yeah,
That is a hot take for a lot of people.
I know it is a hot take for a lot of people, but I do feel like maybe it's just because I'm an extrovert. Maybe it's
You need
just
the
'cause I'm an
interaction.
I need the interaction. I feel
guess.
I
You might just not be in that place in life yet.
that is true, yeah, and that is true. I didn't think about that. That actually is a really good point. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm not at that point in life yet where it's, I can see it from the other side. It's like
Yeah,
if you
'cause
have kids, if you have,
if you're driven and you want if you want more exposure and you're driven to improve with your role, the most exposure you can is like face to face. Like
yeah. And I know that's not for everyone either. I know
oh,
it's
100%
like,
no.
yeah, it's not for everyone, and I do understand that. Like, some people, oh my God.
Me?
Oh,
Talking about me?
no, I'm not talking about you.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would say prioritize what you need to, and find something that's, to what benefits you. All that I am saying is that I do see some benefit in having that face-to-face interaction and having and building those connections, and not only just for business but for personal, and just to have the ability to talk to other people.
Yeah, that
Interpersonal skills.
interpersonal skills is definitely it's I feel like it's easy to lose but hard to build up a lot of times. Like especially if you're more introverted by nature, like just going and reaching out to or to talking to like a supervisor, someone like above you in terms of I guess the corporate structure. If you're not used to like dealing with that, like you might like insult them by like being either too like formal or like you just not talking to them. Like, oh, it's too scary. He's like, well, I mean, they say that you want to talk to you, like, hey, like, oh, just come into my office. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
do I want to? Like, there's a lot of like nuance to the whole thing.
I think there's a lot. I feel like there's a lot, and I feel like a lot of people have some very strong opinions. I personally like the hybrid. I like the hybrid. I don't like fully remote. I could see why
Like
people
for
would
some
need it.
roles, I think it fits more with certain roles than others.
I'm not gonna you. I'm gonna be remotely flipping burgers. Oh my God,
Flippy.
oh my God, that would be so cool. It would be
What?
it'd be like a game. I'm
No.
able to, no. Why? I think
Not
that'd
at
be
all.
cool. Okay. That's maybe just me, but
Oh, it is just you.
Oh my God. Okay. We can go on to the next one. I think we.
Yeah, we'll go to the next one.